Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Hi, Pappy Two Bears. How are you doing? John, how you doing? Well, we got another update tonight. That's why I'm going early because we didn't see the whole interview last night. Now, did we? Um, so they're airing another portion of it, which I'll go over. Now I'm going over my 30-second mark. I can speak out a little freely. But anyway, uh, so I put in my thumbnail evil plans. Therapist Pelosi plant? What's that look like? And millstones ready. Have you got your millstones ready? For those few that don't know what that means, or maybe a good number of you don't, that's fine. I'll tell you what it means later in the broadcast. So let me see who all's coming in. Hi, B-Dog. Oh my gosh, everybody's coming in. Patriot Missile, Sandy, Linda. Ha ha. Bubba. Hi, Nikki. How are you doing? You been on? You must be tired, honey. We'll make this go smooth. Hi, Damon. Hi, Wanda. Marla, how you doing? Everybody's coming in. That's great. Kirsten, how you doing? Ryder Day. Good. Everybody's coming in. Well, there's so much news flying around about that incident in Tennessee. I call it the Tennessee TRANNY operation. Now that might seem a little, oh gee, you got a one of those con theories, you know what I mean, like conspiracy. Well, maybe I do and maybe I don't. But how many times have we heard of people that do these types of things have therapists? Well, we found that out with this person. One of the article headlines was they were emotionally troubled. I'm like, no kidding, right? No Sherlock, right? But it's these therapists, and we can go through I don't know how many of these bang bang situations where they have therapists, and I think these people are being checked out. And if they're not, which would shock me that they're not, but they should be very well checked out and see if there's any connections or anything like that. We know the one boy that went down there to a grocery store and did this sort of thing. He was dealing with a retired Phoebe agent. Okay, messaging back and forth. So there's been some interesting things that have been posted. I was watching one person I watch and putting together a video, and they said while they were getting information, stuff was being taken down, accounts were being taken down in real time. Somebody was moving very quickly to take it down, but not quick enough for it to get out, even though the best effort of the media was to cloud the reasoning and the psychological profile, I'll say, of the person involved. So the narrative they are limping along with is somehow that this person is somehow a victim. Okay, so I'm sure you all have seen those comments, and I'll go into it a little more in depth. But how quickly they get their people on the scene, right? Their people on the scene to control the what? Control the narrative. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and that would be my plumber Intel. And this, I don't know if you all saw where it's going around the internet where this one reporter was trying to set up their camera, so they claim, but it just so happened that behind this reporter, there was supposed to be a member of the public who gave a very cogent and, in my mind, rehearsed speech about aren't you tired of reporting on these shooters? Isn't it time that we do something as a society? And of course, blaming the GUNs, GANs is the way I say it, so it doesn't switch anything off. So steering it away from that, the real cause, as somebody pointed out in, I think it was a Twitter account, which they're starting to pull down some accounts. And I'll get into that, Andy. No, not accounts, but some of their messages they're putting out. And I'll get into that. But one person, Benny Johnson, put up, as I said last night, we have 4 similarities that we could talk about off the top of our heads. And don't forget tonight, folks, Mr. T, I pity the fool who crosses him, is going to be on Hannity tonight. That's why I'm going up early for a second go round. Or to fill in where they did not complete the interview on air. And also keep in mind that that was a pre-recorded interview and they edit them. And we're still in muddy waters as far as Fox News is concerned. But I'll talk a little bit about Mr. T's interview, which had to be somewhat muted because of this event I'm discussing right now. Okay, so but Benny Johnson put up the Colorado Springs bang bang identified as non-binary. The Denver school bang bang identified as trans, okay? The Aberdeen bang bang identified as trans, okay? The Nashville shooter, bang bang, identified as trans. And Elon Musk responded to that with an exclamation point, like, wow. But it wasn't wow to us. But that's the kind of thing that's getting out there. We've got 4 of these things at least, that if there wasn't people involved searching out facts, we wouldn't know as much as we know. So here's a meme somebody put up. I might save this, put it up later on another broadcast. Nothing gets a mass I don't know if I can put this up. A mass SHOOTER off the news faster than finding out he's a Democrat. I don't know if that's still posted or not, but I guess I can get away with saying it, right? So that woman I was talking about that showed up behind that reporter, this is the reason why why they're slow walking these J6 tapes, or doing what they can, applying whatever pressure they can, because people on sites like 4chan and I don't know what all, I'm not that big an expert in it, but they have so many sleuths that can use facial recognition, or experts at searching social media. They can come up with stuff like this woman that I was talking about, giving that professional breakdown of the narrative that steered it away from just what we were talking about. It turns out that person is a friend of Nancy P. But she was acting like, oh, I'm just a neighboring person that's very distressed, and I want the government to do something about the GUNs. And okay, nothing about people who are being given some kind of medicine that blocks their normal development function, and then given inordinate amounts of hormones that are usually not present in the bodies that they have been blessed to have. So no, that's not cause anything kooky, right? And a therapist, okay? A therapist, what are they teaching this person? And I said in the past, like when I was discussing the Fetterman situation, a lot of times when people are put in an institutionalized setting, it is because they are a danger to themselves or others. I don't know if that's the case with Fetterman, but I'm saying if he were a danger to himself or others, he would be what's called involuntarily committed. Okay. So a therapist has a duty if there is signs of that. There is confidentiality, yes, between patient and a doctor, but there's a line that's drawn that you don't cross, and that is keeping a secret a danger to the public or to themselves. They have a duty, an ethical and legal duty. So there were some comments and communications on social media that had been, I can go over some of them, I pull them up, where it looked to me like this person was telling others exactly what they were going to do. So if I missed anybody saying hellos, I apologize. The chats go by really fast. Let's see. I'm down. We're down here. Ingrid's here. Camperman, thank you for helping me out, Camperman, last night. I appreciate it. I'll let some fireworks off, but you can hear them, but you can't see them. Bang, pow, zero, pop, 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 pop. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Camperman. So anyway, Georgia's here. Hi, Diamond. How you doing? She's part of the coffee crowd too. Nikki B, Ingrid, Outlandish. Well, everybody's coming in. A Google account. Mike 1176, how you doing? And let's see. Yeah, it looked like she had a moderate bit of training. I don't know if that's from watching video games. It was about that level. Hi, Jamie. We got 2 Georgias. Yay. Lori's in here. Yeah. Oh boy. Everybody's coming in. So Lone Wolf, how you doing? Lone Wolf's part of the coffee crowd too. We got a lot of people in the coffee crowd in tonight. What did Bubba say one night? Mountaineer coffee crowd. I might use that, Bubba, if you don't mind me stealing that. Hello, Mr. Gibbler. Patriot Missile. Sleep with the fish. You can check yourself out after a few days if you are not committed. Well, that's true. But if you verbalize the things that I saw typed out on their own social media, you don't get let out. Okay? You don't get let out. So, and I'll go over that. Oh, thank you, Bubba. Hi, Willis. Do you still like Chinese food? He said, okay. Yeah, I like Chinese food. But not force-fed. But anyway, let's see. Bo said, we are the Mountaineers. That's right. So anyway, so we had this person pop up out of the crowd, perfectly positioned behind the camera, and this newsman was acting like, oh gosh, I'm setting up my broadcast, and is there somebody taking over the screen? Oh, gee, and they let the camera roll, and this person does a perfectly practiced narrative on violating the Second Amendment and taking away our rights, because we've got this one individual in this case was obviously disturbed. And I got a couple of comments from reporters over on the other side of the world, their views of this individual. So let me see what else we've got here. Now, it's interesting. The name Aiden is what this young person decided to call themselves. And the first time I ever heard that name, Aiden, was a British mercenary that was captured in Mariupol. I did a story on, and is currently in prison in Russia. At the same, and was there at the same time as Brittany Griner, but of course for a very different reason. And then the next time I heard it, when was I heard it again? Aiden. Let me see if I got that article. Yeah, here it is. Aiden Fucci, Fucci, the person who ended the life of a young cheerleader. Okay. You guys can look up. There's plenty of stories on that. So that's the only two times I've heard that name ever in my life until now. Tennessee, how you doing? Jersey Joe, how are you? Remember, if you use the word K and then two L's at the end, that 4-letter word, put a 1 instead of an I, or an exclamation point instead of an I, because it gets taken down if you just spell the word out. K-I and the rest is LL. That is a surefire. Okay, let's see. Awaken Trillium, how you doing? So, anyway, this young man I was just talking about, this other Aiden, is in hot water and absolutely did what I just said. He ended the life of a young girl. Now, the other question I have, I'll get to in a minute, that false economy. Did this person that we're talking about now, did they lose a position or a job that was created as part of what I have been referring to the last few nights as a false economy? Is that what, along with some misguided therapy, could have been what brought to this point? All right, their identity as far as money, a job, go bye-bye because companies are not hiring diversity hires anymore, or hiring people just to have support a certain narrative. Because I saw a video where this one person got fired from Twitter. They were making 190,000, I believe, and did a video that they really didn't have any responsibilities, didn't have to do anything. And that was Twitter, and they lost their job. It was either Twitter or Facebook. Let me see if I can find that. Oh my goodness. Well, if I can pull it up, I'll pull it up. My goodness. So there were four people who, six people that this person who lost their lives, and 3 of them were 9-year-olds, and the other 3 were adults. Let me see. I got it. Somebody bought me a coffee. It says someone. There's a way in there. Put your name. It just shows it. Unless I go into the app, which I can't do. But I appreciate it. Whoever that was. I'll chalk it up till someone. So anyway, I was curious if this person lost their cool or performed this act because they may have lost their position. During this, what I'm calling a dismantling of a false economy. Okay. Aiden is 1 letter away from a potato's name. Okay. Hi, Gary. How are you doing? And Joy's here. Let me see. I'm trying Trying to keep up here. Oh, Kathy, I see you doing some math there. I think this person, if there were more available for them to have done that to, they would have. The response from law enforcement was spectacular. They were there in 4 minutes, and another 4 minutes later, I understand the whole situation was neutralized. But I put on my community post a picture of their family. Without the father, I had a picture of the mother, the brother, and then Audrey. Is the real name Audrey? The birth name, I will say, is Audrey. And on my community post, there is an interview with the mother. Was very brief, and she worked at I suspect a nursing home, congregational care facility. Looked like she dressed like someone who helps with living, assisted living, and somebody very, I say rudely, said, asked her about her comments about gun control, and she said, listen, I think I just lost my child, okay? Even though it's a 28-year-old, okay, we've been over that, your child is your child, okay? And Joy says, pink hand waving, ha ha, thank you. So let's see. The Facebook posts, and I want to read that in response to, gosh, the chats went really going by. So hi to blah, the mention of you, if you're, you could be let out after a couple of days. But usually if you openly demonstrate the propensity to harm yourself or others, that's pretty undeniable. You're there for at least a month, and that can be extended as needed. You get a lot in many states. You get a hearing within 72 hours, within 3 days, and they review the cause of your involuntary detention. So this is one, I believe it was Facebook. She was operating under the name Aiden, and she was talking to another friend that says, and I'll read it to you, and I have to kind of mess around with some of the words that are put in there. But she messaged her friend hours before she did what she did. So basically, that post I made on here about you, that was basically a you-know-what-aside note. I'm planning to DIE today. Capital letters, this is not a joke, 4 exclamation points. You'll probably hear about me on the news after I DIE. Then she goes on to say, this is my last goodbye. I love you, with a picture of a heart. See you again in another life. Audrey, parentheses, Aiden. So using the born name plus the acquired name. And this friend replied back. Before I get that, I'll just say real quick, that right there is enough to make sure you are undergoing treatment for 30 days and observation. In 72 hours is not going to get you out of that, what I just read. Okay. So, I'm just pointing it out because, as I've said, I know a little bit of something about psychiatric issues. So the friend said, Audrey, you have so much more life to live. I pray God keeps and covers you. And her response was, I know, but I don't want to live. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to upset you or get attention. I just need to DIE. Okay, so that is a person in a psychiatric crisis. Okay, it's not like, oh, I got over it during the weekend. Now it's Monday. Now I feel better. Okay. No, no, you're going to be interviewed and observed at the very least for 30 days for that kind of talk, especially with everything else that's been going on. So, after that little discussion, let me see. The person that was involved in the conversation posted right after it happened, I cannot, in capital letters, believe this. And then in capital letters, speechless. And the same person said, prayers to Covenant School in Green Hills. This is horrible. God, cover every student and teacher in Nashville right now. Check on your people. I know a lot of people would say, well, that's a little too late. And when she did get those messages from their friend, yes, they should have contacted authorities. But a lot of people view statements like that many times as youthful drama. Youthful drama. That's what you hear a lot of times when people don't take these kind of statements from a mentally ill person seriously. So, no, it's not right that. It's not right that she did not contact anybody, but it is much more common than you think. Yes, Kirsten, it is not could. That's my personal opinion. The MK Ultra, okay, not Michelob Ultra, the beer either. Yeah. So I'm talking about that with the therapist, because almost all of these happenings, I'll say, involves a therapist. Almost every one of them. Yeah, Wanda, I was just going to go over Andy No. He called. Yeah, I'll read what he put up. That Twitter is doing it again. Okay. So let me see if there's anything left. Audrey Hale's final message to friend. Her name is Averiana Patton, Nashville, Tennessee. She looks to be quite a bit younger. So, I don't know what her age is. So she's not at fault. She's not at fault. So, Andy, no, you're right. He made some posts that got taken down. And since we're coming up to where 9:00 is supposed to be the rest of that interview, and I want to talk about last night's interview, but I will discuss, Lori Lightfoot's tweet. This didn't get taken down. It's probably still up unless she took it down. Does everybody remember this from Lori Lightfoot? Okay. To my friends in the alphabet community in capital letters, the Supreme Court is coming for us next. This moment has to be a call to arms. Okay, that was Lori Lightfoot sometime last year, right? Then this same activist, TRANS activist, that said they were going to give out free hormone pills or whatever they needed without a license, medical license, to anybody, no matter their age, who I consider, as far as I'm concerned, should be sitting in federal prison right now. If this isn't her, it's a look-alike. But I don't know how many people shave one side of their head, dye the other side white, and then comb it over in an Adolf kind of look. Uh, TRANS activists slam radical religious schools, demand a ban of radical religious schools in a disturbing response to the Nashville mass you know what incident in which 7 people, including the perpetrator Audrey Hale, died. So their response is to call for the religious schools, okay, an end to religious schools. So there's no in between here, folks. There's no bargaining with people like that. It's like I said about when Reagan sent a clear signal to Muammar Gaddafi when he called him the mad dog of the Middle East. Gaddafi knew what that meant. If you're considered under the laws of war as a mad dog, there's only one way to deal with that. Okay? So, yeah, our friends overseas, primarily in the Eastern Bloc, this is the type of reporting they put out. There's no question there is no narrative. It's the story. Yesterday in Nashville, Tennessee, a transgender TERRORist decided to break into a Christian school and massacre 3 children and 3 staff members. Body cam footage of the police officers have been released. In the footage, it shows officers clearing the Covenant School building. The footage shows officers taking swift action, and upon finding the suspect, they neutralize the threat. And then below that story, it says below is the footage of the transgender demon TERRORist and entering the Covenant School building. So they make no bones about it. All right, what they consider that person to be. And boy, time goes by fast, doesn't it, folks? Andy knows that I've been locked out of Twitter. Hey, Bobcat, how you doing? Hi, Rick. Lucy, how you doing? Boy, everybody's rolling in. So, yeah, I'm doing these abbreviated shows so we can see Mr. T. Don't be let down by last night. I'll get into that. But anyway, Andy knows that I've been locked out of Twitter for reporting on an event being organized by an antifizzle group. And I'm starting to call it Trantifizzle. Trantifizzle. Okay. Anyone who posted the TRANS Day of Vengeance flyer regarding of context is locked out until they delete the post. Our Rights DC, that's the name of a group that organizes the event, Our Rights DC, remains on Twitter. I believe this punishes journalists for shining a light on extremism. And here it is. Andy No says this antifizzle group organizing the the day of vengeance. Okay, folks. So he got taken down, and I don't know what Mr. Musk is going to do about that. If he's going to allow it to remain down, but we have a lot of these. What do you call a lot of these false economy hires? Okay. Oh, that's right, Kirsten. You mentioned that last night or early this morning. I'm sorry. One of the children lost their best friend. Yeah. Yeah, Kirsten is right down in that territory. But thank God. Could, I don't want to say it could have been worse, but hi, Wendy. Kicking bird. So Kirsten has your daughter's best friend babysit for 3 children. One of the children lost their best friend. Oh, yeah, that's horrible. So, yeah, let them keep pushing that narrative that it's the fault of the people who want to live according to God's word. Okay, let's see how that works out for them. It's going to do just what they're trying to do to Trump. It's going to blow up in their face. So I have a report I want to read real quick because I don't want to run out of time. Let me read one more report about this person who we're talking about with the Tennessee, but I will say about Mr. Trump. Okay, real quick, we'll get into it more in another broadcast, but real quick, a couple of things that he said that we need to remember. He said, I have the tapes. Okay, folks? He said it about 3 times. I have the tapes. What does he mean? He's saying the tapes of them breaking into Mar-a-Lago and doing their raid. Okay? And he said that they wanted him to give those tapes up, and he said he was not going to give those tapes up, and that he has them. And the other thing he said about those tapes was that they treated people horribly. And the tapes show they treated people horribly. And his quote was, they treated the people at Mar-a-Lago like they were enemies from a foreign country. Okay? That's very specific language. And remember that. And remember, he's got something they want. Okay? Something they didn't think he had was surveillance tapes of their behavior during that raid. So that's going to come back. And the other things that he brought up about overseas. This was reported from the Eastern Bloc. Trump said the war in Ukraine is unlikely to end before the U.S. presidential election. And is quoted as saying, before that, there is still a year and a half, a very long time. I cannot imagine what can happen during this time, the ex-president said. The bottom line is that the war must stop because Ukraine is being destroyed, Trump added during his interview with Fox News. So he's given us some insight that he does not think this war is going to end before the election. But then he says he repeated his statement that if he could stop the war, quote, in 24 hours if he became president. And then the quote goes on, these negotiations would be very simple, but I will not reveal their essence because I will not be able to use these negotiations. They will not work, unquote. So instead of the art of the deal, he's talking about the essence of a deal, which, of course, that goes way over people's heads like Joe Biden, crooks like John Kerry, who's been backdooring going into Iran. We know all about it. And it's criminal activity, and it's going to come to a head. So, and Trump also said about deploying tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Okay. This situation, he quote, was caused by us. This is what happens when your government is run by incompetent people. All I can tell you now is pray. So he's putting out a very strong position there that is the current administration is the reason there's stuff being kicked around with the nuclear word, okay? He's got tapes of what happened in the Mar-a-Lago situation they didn't think he had. They thought they made them cut off those cameras, okay? So there's a lot of things. And the way they treated people were like foreign, they were foreign agents from a foreign country. So anyway, so to wrap this up, because I can say Hannity, his show's coming up too here in a little bit, so I can squeeze this in. Let me get to it. What were some of the things he was going to talk about tonight? Oh gosh, there's so much I could go over. Here's one report real quick. The media is already framing this attack as dangerous for the TRANS community when a Christian school was just shot up, and after what happened to Christian children. They're saying it's a danger to the other community, right? The New York Times has apologized to the LGBT community for misgendering the trans shooter, and the New York Times put out this statement. There was confusion later on Monday about the gender identity of the assailant in the Nashville shooting. Officials had used, quote, she and, quote, her to refer to the suspect, who, according to a social media post and a LinkedIn profile, appeared to identify as a man in recent months. So, in other words, they're sorry they misgendered it, the person. Well, let me tell you an interview real quick with the neighbors who were interacting with this person, who it turns out from their manifesto and from their writings, number one, they had other places they were going to go, but she changed her mind because they had security. She went to the weakest point, okay? She went to the softest target, okay? The other thing was that she was planning to do harm to her family, okay? Her brother Harry and her mother and her father. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But this story from the Daily Mail, which is attempting to minimize, in my mind, what happened to the people at the church. Exclusive Nashville mass school banger Audrey Hale was rejected by her Christian parents who, quote, couldn't accept she was gay and trans, as cops reveal she also planned to SHOOT relatives. Okay, so neighbors in the tree-lined suburban street where the family lived for 3 decades said they were clueless about Hale's apparent transition and remembered her as a skater tomboy type. So she lived there for 30 years. People have been living all around. They didn't know anything about this business. Quote, she introduced herself about a year and a half ago as Audrey, said one neighbor. I treated her like a female and she didn't correct me. She seemed artistic, quiet, and well-mannered. Police now say Hale planned to carry out more attacks, including against her own family. We've talked to the father and the mother. We searched the home and found 2 more weapons. I'll interject. One was a sawed-off shotgun, illegal. And there are some more maps pertaining to thinking about some other incidents. We strongly believe there were going to be some other targets, including family members. And one of the emails here, one of the malls here in Tennessee. So there were other things that were discussed by her in writing to do before this, but she pushed it aside and went to the weakest one. Okay, so we got to see what these other things were. We actually need to see, we're entitled to see the social media posts, the manifesto, and I want to know who in the heck that therapist is, okay? Yeah, everybody saw Biden sitting there eating ice cream, talking about ice cream after he gave that crocodile tears story about what happened. He looks ridiculous. Trump's not speaking tonight there at Cheshire. They are going to play some other portions of his interview. Let me see. Let me see if I can see what the topic was going to be. I've covered so much. This article, I'll finish this article up. There is still little known about how Hale transformed from the, quote, sweet girl described by neighbors to a murderous shooter with 2 rifles and a handgun. Well, she had a total of 7, so there were 4 more weapons in the house. And who penned a KILL manifesto and even drew a cartoon about how she planned to attack. Okay, so that's the latest article there. But they say it was because she was rejected by the meanies, you know. So yeah, you can beat that drum all you want. You're just gonna puke everybody out. Oh, and then we got Butt Edge. Where's Donna? Maybe she can tell us when the Mr. T other part of that interview. But anyway, Chasen Butt Edge said it's the guns. Okay, we'll ban the drag queens. No, it's the guns. Okay, we'll make sure to lock the doors. And Ben Shapiro replied, it was the shooter who self-identified as a trans person red rumming small children at a Christian school. So this is this, quote, husband, all right, the husband of this transportation person, Mr. Butt Edge. So Nikki says the MSM were more worried about Miss you-know-whattling gender than they are about correcting the problem. Retired military and police at schools. So has anybody heard about if Mr. T's going on? Because I got some more things we can go over. I got a barrel of stuff. I could talk for another hour. Oh gosh, I'm reading this thing about what he's going to be talking about. One of the things is coming up. It said on a Fox News banner coming up tomorrow, which is today. Trump's thoughts on Biden's cognitive decline. So that will be interesting, and it's certainly things that other world leaders will pay attention to. So let's see. The Fox News producer who sued the network last week, alleging she was coerced into giving false testimony against dumb onion voting systems, says she has now been fired. That is reported by ABC News. So that's another thing that's getting interesting. That is an interesting twist in the thing that all the liberals love to talk about is this dumb onion lawsuit. Well, Yeah, let's see what happens, because that person that's suing doesn't have a job anymore. This false economy, these people walking around with pockets full of money that have very little responsibility or no real purpose, except to support a narrative, are losing their jobs left and right. And I'm wondering if this isn't the case with this Audrey person, because I put a picture on my community post of this person dressed up, in a man outfit, in a nice office with flowers on the desk, and showing their I guess Disney-esque type artwork, saying that they were commercial artists. So they might have got the boot. Okay. They might have got the boot. Andy said he was going to play the rest of the interview. He didn't say when. Hi, Donna. Tubla. That's right, hilarious. It's use the exclamation point with an I when you, as I said earlier in the broadcast, the K exclamation point LL or K1LL. Okay, I appreciate it. Melvita, did I see you earlier? I don't know. I'm getting old. So the other thing is this person that is on trial for posting a meme about Hillary Clinton. That has gone to a jury. And apparently they're wanting to get him in some big trouble. But Posobiec put out a notice here that the jury in the Douglas McKay meme trial just requested the entire transcript of the case. So that's going to be very interesting. And Matt Gaetz said, today we are sending a clear message to Joe Biden. There will be no increase in the debt limit without significant spending cuts. Before I finish the rest of that, I said the other night that the other thing they're going to use as a crisis is the government shutdown. And this situation that happened in Tennessee is very convenient, isn't it? It's very convenient. Right when the Manhattan DA gets the smack in the face and embarrasses themselves, right when Joe Biden stuff's coming out with all the dirty money out of China and Russia, okay, and all the contacts with the whole family, this stuff happens. One other thing I had a note on, did you all hear that Matt Taibbi, he is the one who has been doing the Twitter drops? Someone may have mentioned in the chats, maybe I missed it. If you did, I have it on my list of things to discuss. Matt Taibbi was doing his testimony, okay, in front of Congress. You know what they did to him? They raided his home, the I.R.S. while he was giving testimony to Congress. And it was called a very chilling thing. But anyway, Matt Gaetz went on to say, House Republicans have laid out a budget plan that does not cut Social Security or Medicare, but that attacks a woke and weaponized government that hurts the economic security of the American people. So that's one way they've weaponized government spending, is by inducing corporations to hire WOKE people and also bureaucracies to pack their little fiefdoms up with WOKE people who get plenty of money, plenty of pay, and don't have a worry in the world. They're not responsible to anyone or anything. A good example of them practicing that was the video that was done showing scam Stankman fraud, okay, the one who's going to jail. They did a video on him saying he became a billionaire by giving his money away. And he's sitting there with his messed up hair, pot belly hanging out like he's been eating Cheetos all day, smiling like a dumbass or a dummy, and got a t-shirt on, looking like a bum. And they're going, look, this is all you got to do and be right here. A Cheeto eating bum, giving away things, when all he was really was a mule for money laundering. And that's all coming out. That's right, Bambi. It's tough. We're going to make a move. We're going to make a move. Because it can't go on like this. It can't. And Merrick Garland testified before the Senate DOJ on the DOJ budget, which was to say, how much of your money is going, or is there any Democrat money going into these investigations? Where are you getting this money to do these politically motivated investigations? So, of course, that was all overshadowed. That was all overshadowed by this situation in Tennessee. Camperman said Hannity is talking 90 miles an hour. Yeah, he's going to do his intro where he says, I'm, a lot of same things over and over, right? So I'll just keep going. Here's that one article I mentioned. Audrey Hale had an emotional disorder, 7 weapons purchased legally. Now, I'm not saying anything. I know there was a sawed-off shotgun, according to that one report. Oh, there was a 70-car train derailed in North Dakota, causing another hazardous waste leak. Diamond and Silk put that out 5. This person, oops, Camperman said, oops, ha ha. But anyway, this, let's see, jury in Douglas McKay trial. This is the guy they're trying to put in jail or ruin his life over a meme about Hillary Dillery Do. We have completed our deliberations and we have not reached a unanimous decision. Please advise. So we've got a hung jury here, and it'd be interesting to find out if we got one screwball that wants to be ruining people's lives because they don't like the meme, or and I believe that's what the case is going to be. I'm back. I'm back, Alan. So anyway, a couple of people thought it was over and dipped out, but I'm here. So anyway, I am trying to see, because I had planned out for a shorter broadcast. And I tell you what, one thing I want to talk about last night, I might as well talk about it now. Well, gosh, I'm coming up on my hour. But it's too late for me to sign out before it's over, so I'll keep going a little bit. I saw a interview that was started with Barbara Walters years ago about how wonderful this Jenner girl was, right? Jazz Jenner, and how stunning and brave this person they started doing this to at the age of 4. And Barbara Walters was introducing the family when they were going to do their first season. Now they're in their 8th season. And I never watched any of that stuff. I never saw that interview. I never heard about Barbara Walters calling the person who a minor individual, a stunning and brave person, and the parents being so wonderful. But looking at it now, they all belonged in jail at that time. And whoever took a scalpel to that young human being belongs in jail. And I'll go even farther than that. I remember watching the Sonny and Cher show on television. Remember when it was free television? You didn't have to buy this package or that package or pay this to the cable company or pay that to the cable company. They had the Sonny and Cher show. Babe, I got you, babe. Who'd they bring out? Who'd they bring out as special guest one time? Thumb in their mouth, looking around. A little girl named Chastity Bono. Just an infant. And then she got to be older as the show went along. You know, Mother Cher would hold her up. And then Sonny and Cher got a divorce. Cher was messing around with some long hair from some band, I forget. And they parted ways. And Cher allowed what happened to Chastity. Was that her name? Now it's Chaz, which is CHAS, is short for Charles. So nobody had the courage. Yeah, Greg Allman, John said, nobody had the courage to step in and say, what are you doing? And so it's been a long time coming. No, Rick, I don't believe that. Sonny Bono was a conservative, and I remember her doing songs and shows when she was very young. And no, she ain't a dude. But Chaz Bono ain't a dude either. So anyway, I'll end it with this. Another tweet from Benny Johnson that says, this all started when parents decided to outsource the raising of children to the state. Shame on an entire generations, plural, generations of lazy, complacent parents who let a demonic system raise your children. This is where the blame for every tragedy starts and ends. Shame on you. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the chats that didn't go along with it and fought in every step of the way. But we got to look at ourselves collectively at some point. And like I said, you hand your child over to strangers, and you have people in local governments that run your life. You don't know who they are. And those who don't know who they are, and what's more, don't care who they are, shame on them. So people got to get involved. So this can never happen again. So anyway, Cameron Brand said both his boys homeschooled. All right. Yeah, Patriot Missile said, look at the Hollywood weirdos. Yeah, I know, Bubba. We're waiting for him to do something. That could be coming soon. I want to do a broadcast on not so much when I think it's going to happen, but who is going to be the stealth bomber. Keep that in mind, folks. Who is going to be the Punisher? Barbara Walter said Big Mike was Big Mike. Oh my God, don't get filthy now, Rick. Sonny and Cher, Sonny and Cher, Shera. Okay. Now that was the name of the child, wasn't it? Everybody from my era. That's right, Doc Ghost. The breakup of the family is the main part. Anyway, folks, let's see. I got a link in the description for anybody who wants to help the channel out with Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate whoever. Chastity. I thought it was, what did I say? No, I said it earlier. Chastity, Patriot Missile, and Don F said Chastity with a DY. It was one or the other. It was Chastity, I believe it was. And isn't that odd? I mean, Sonny, he was conservative and much more level-headed. He was a Republican representative in Congress, and yeah, Chasbono, Tennessee. And anyway, can you imagine? He said, "I'll pick that name up because it means purity, or it means and then you end up with that mess sitting there, overweight person with had their Chaz. Oh, okay. B Dog said Chaz in Old English. CHAS is short for Charles. The way they used to sign their names back in the old days. So, okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I really appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me tonight. I'll put it on the screen. Everybody that's helped me since the show began. And the most recent being last night, Camperman. Again, I thank you much for coming through for me, and somebody tonight, and I apologize, it just came through on the top of the phone as somebody, and there's a way to put your name if you care to have your name put in there, so it'll show up. If not, I guess they think that you want to be anonymous, and they put up somebody. So I got two somebodies that's helped me in the past, somebody one, somebody two. So anyway, folks, you all have a great night, and I appreciate you spending your precious time with me. And I will be going live again tomorrow night because I want to see what Mr. G's got to say tonight. And I got a bunch of stuff I haven't been able to go over in the last couple of broadcasts. And we'll see which way the ball bounces. So you all have a great night. And thank you all for joining me. This is Mountain Man over and out.